Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And we're live again on another evening. And the mic is open to talk about DC Universe, DC Elseworlds, anything else in entertainment, Manchester United, Doctor Who, James Bond, Star Wars. These are my knowledge. This is what I have knowledge on. Star Trek. I love Star Trek as well. We can talk Star Trek. Whatever you want to do in entertainment, in terms of football, Manchester United, because they're my team. Waz007. Hi, everyone from England. Waz007. How are you, Mick? I'm very well, Waz. How are you doing on a very wet Cyprus evening? But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk geek. I'm ready to talk nerd. I'm absolutely happy to talk about the stuff I've already listed. Waz007. I'm okay, thanks. Glad to hear it. It's always good to have happy people. John, hi, Mick. Hope you are well. Yes, I'm very well, John, apart from the negativity on Twitter from Snyderverse stands. Absolutely, they are wearing thin now, I'm afraid. Waz007, let Bond talk. Yeah, talk about James Bond. You kick it off. In terms of James Bond, I think the people running it need to retire. We need new leadership. I think the previous films have shown that. I don't think we are going to get new leadership. I think the next Bond will not be a straight white male. I think we're either going to go for a black Bond, an Indian Bond, an Asian Bond, and if it's a grey, not. But I don't really think those are the motivations with casting. Waz007, who cast for the cast Bond? Well, it's quite simple, Waz. The best person for the job. A good actor who looks good in a tuxedo, who could do the job. I don't have names. I'm not really a fan of fan casting famous people. There's so many unknown actors, talented unknown actors out there who can also do the job. I don't have a specific target for who should play James Bond at the moment. I don't have any idea. But yeah, I just want the best person. When they unveil it, I want to see. When I see the casting, I want to say, yeah, that's James Bond. There was a lot of shit talk about Daniel Craig, but I knew he was a good actor. He looked good. I saw him and I thought he could be a good Bond. And it really didn't matter to me that the geezer had blonde hair. He was a great Bond. For a time, I think he got too much involved with the behind-the-scenes elements of Bond, and he was able to lead James Bond far too much in terms of the decisions that were made creatively, and I think that also hurt James Bond in the end, and I'm glad that he's gone. Welcome to Movies TV Mad. We're live for as long as there's a conversation to be had, and there's lots of conversations to be had. So, will the DC Universe have a Justice League? That's the question, isn't it? Waz007, my fan cast Henry Cavill as Bond, Tom Holland as J.R. Jr. Bond. I have always spoken about having a young James Bond TV series and it correlating into the movie universe as well. You give him a backstory with the James Bond Jr. show, and then that backstory leads into whatever you're doing with the adult Bond. I don't think that Tom Holland is young enough to play that James Bond Jr. anymore, although he does look younger than he already is. But no, he wouldn't be my pick for a younger Bond because he's not that young anyway. But yeah, there's so many things you can do with James Bond, but unfortunately, the ambition isn't there any longer with James Bond. These films still make money, including the bad ones, like the last one. It looked great. The stunt work was great. You know, the choreography was great, but it wasn't a good film within its narrative. And the whole idea of killing him off, and I know why they did that, but at the end of the day, they killed him because they want to create a new timeline for James Bond, a bit like they're doing in DC Universe, or go back to the original timeline, which I'd be very happy about. But the reason they left the original timeline because of toxic masculinity, and they don't approve of a lot of those movies. The problem is the people leading Bond now were very, very instrumental with a lot of that old timeline, and they're trying to distance themselves from it. John, my favourite Bond movies are Spy Who Loved Me. Yep, love it. Moonraker, love it. GoldenEye, love it. Casino Royale, love it. And Skyfall, yes, even though it is a rip-off to The Dark Knight, I do like Skyfall. And if you go back and analyse Skyfall, the whole thing is a rip-off to The Dark Knight. Waz 007, I near fall asleep on Skyfall in cinema. Oh dear, Skyfall's a good movie. I mean, it's a rip-off to The Dark Knight. I don't see how you fell asleep to that, mate. Were you doing a bit of Happy Larry? Were you on some strong drugs? Had you had some alcohol before? How could you fall asleep to that? Good evening, Abraham Herrera. What are you going to do this weekend, Mick? Are you going to go to the movies? My journey to go and see movies this week will be opening my cupboard or going on my streaming, the stuff that I stream, and watching stuff. What I'm watching at the moment, I'll be honest with you, I'm re-watching Everybody Loves Raymond. Big fan of the old-fashioned sitcom. I think Everybody Loves Raymond is one of the best sitcoms ever. Rewatching that based on an idea by the fabulous Ray Romano, such an unproblematic dude as well. Lovely man, very helpful man, full of advice. Lovely man. 9 seasons of that. That's what I'm watching. I'm watching Futurama. I'm watching The Simpsons. I'm watching Family Guy. But going to the movies, there's nothing out at the moment that I have any interest in seeing, I'm afraid, Abraham. How about yourself? John, and View to a Kill is great. Forget what they say about that film. It's good. And I mean, fucking hell, Christopher Walken is the ultimate bad guy. What an actor that guy is. He was great in Batman Returns as well. So I actually like it. I agree there, John. A View to a Kill is a very good film. So will there be a Justice League in James Gunn's and Peter Safran's DC universe? They haven't uttered a word about the Justice League yet, which is very, very interesting. How would you react if we don't get a Justice League in this timeline? Very, very interesting. Unlikely, but it's a possibility. He's mentioned Superman, he's mentioned Batman, he's mentioned, kind of mentioned Wonder Woman, mentioned Supergirl, but no mention of the Justice League. And yeah, very interesting. And in terms of the other thing I want to discuss, the rise and fall of the Snyderverse Stan. The Snyderverse Stan was fighting for something very good and very pure in terms of releasing the Snyder Cut. The way they formulated their fight was intelligent, beautiful, and I got involved in that fight. I'm afraid now they have become not all of them, let's be clear. There's an element there who spend all day on Twitter shitting on the new plan. They don't have anything intelligent to say, constructive to say. We know what happened with Justice League was wrong. We fought for the Snyder Cut, most of us did, and we got the Snyder Cut, a beautiful version of Justice League. But now they've become a petty annoyance and they're invading my timeline. And it's become a situation where it's very difficult to get them off my timeline. Even if I unfollow certain people who retweet and are involved with those people, they're there. And that's a problem for a lot of us DC fans now as well. They're very triggered. They haven't got over the Henry Cavill thing, even though their director, Zack Snyder, ignored a petition of 1 million people to bring back Brandon Routh as Superman in Man of Steel. Same situation as what James Gunn's done. James Gunn wants to go with his own man. Zack wanted to go with his own man, but they don't see it because they're clouded within their own fandom, their own echo chamber. And, as I say, to me, they have become a petty annoyance. John, have you noticed that James Gunn has not mentioned Jim Lee? He hasn't mentioned him, but I do think he retweets him, and Jim has, I think, kind of said some nice stuff about him. So I don't think there's an issue there, John, hopefully. I don't think there is, though. Waz 007, Daniel Craig overstayed for Bond. Overstayed his welcome for Bond. Yeah. Yes, I think so. And I think he got too involved in the power play of what was going on behind the scenes. Made too many decisions. Barbara Broccoli would have an orgasm every time she had said the words Daniel Craig. It wasn't great. Waz 007, Quantum of Solace is a worse Bond film. Let me explain to you about Quantum of Solace. And the issue isn't with the movie itself or what it is. They wanted to create an interconnected James Bond franchise where everything bleeds from the same story. They attempted to do that. Quantum of Solace is a bad execution of doing that. It's a short film, and for me, what they were attempting to do didn't work, and that hurt the film. It's not the director's fault. They tried to blame the director. It wasn't the director's fault. It was the people constructing the movie to continue off of Casino Royale. Now, that concept is a really, really good idea, but they didn't execute it in the right way, and it hurt the film. Abraham Herrera, everyone will look out for their own best interest. It's how life works. There's ways in life, Abraham, how we construct ourselves. You construct yourself as a gentleman. I know where your allegiance lies, but you construct yourself as a gentleman. I try and construct myself as a gentleman. I'm not always successful. But you've got to understand the other side of the coin. When you're on Twitter, when you're going down your timeline, I don't mind people saying, I've got an issue with what James Gunn's doing. You know, if they say, you know, A, B, and C, what they did to Henry, or isn't it just the same plan as before? But when I see people shit talking the man, calling him the PEDO word, basically, when you call someone that, you're saying they're a child abuser. There's no evidence that the man has done anything like that. These are not constructive arguments. I'm all for constructive arguments about what's going on with DC Universe. And that's all I'm seeing in my timeline. And to be honest with you, my friend, I'm getting sick of it. Derpy Entertainment, I would assume so we get Justice League. The question is when and how it will lead into. But with Swamp Thing being in the first half of the story, I'm definitely getting Justice League Dark vibes. Yeah, Derpy, good evening to you. I think you make a great point here about Justice League Dark. J.J. Abrams was going to create his own Constantine and Justice League Dark universe. That seems to be dead now. So, I mean, and he did talk about Swamp Thing being kind of unrelated to the DCU. I don't really understand what he means by that, but I think we will see Constantine and the formation of a Justice League Dark. What I think he may be attempting to do in this chapter is maybe Justice League Dark versus the Justice League, or uniting with the Justice League. Or what his plan could really be in phase 1, in chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, that actually it's Justice League Dark that are the team for this chapter, not Justice League. We may see, and I think you're quite right there, Justice League Dark come about before Justice League. Now, I'm fine with that because it's different, it's bold, and I like the characters in the Justice League Dark team as well. So that will be pretty exciting. I mean, no rush to see another Justice League anyway, because when I think of Justice League, I just think of Justice League and all the bad vibes and all the bad feeling. Maybe it would be good to rest the Justice League for now. I mean, personally, I want to see the Justice League exist, but we will see. John, do you think Aaron Taylor-Johnson would be a good Bond? Well, there's a lot of talk about him. There's talk that he's already got the job. I think he will be a fabulous James Bond. I don't think he's going to get it. I think they're going to choose an inclusive hire, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to wait and see. I think he would be a very good pick. He's, I think in terms of fan casting, he's very popular. We'll have to wait and see. They don't seem to be in any rush, and I think there is probably some kind of civil war between Michael G. Wilson, Barbara Broccoli, and Amazon, who now own MGM. And I think both those sides are going to have different ideas how James Bond is run. John, he was great in Bullet Train. He's a very, very good actor. He's got everything that you need to be a great James Bond. There's no question about that. But all the rumors that he's definitely got the job, I'm not convinced. But I'm not even convinced how far in the process they are of casting a Bond, developing a movie. They're taking too long. This is the era of the shared connected universe, and they're being left behind. And doing a Bond movie every 3 to 5 years isn't going to cut it. Now, they've got away with it thus far, but the world has moved on for franchises having movies every 5 years. You cannot get away with it. And plus, your actor grows out of the role when you do that. And in the end, you only have like 3 or 4 movies, or not even that. I don't even know how old Aaron is. Derpy Entertainment, I do think James Gunn, a real big ending or play is DC own Endgame in Kingdom Come, which is just crazy and cool. But I'm sure how the general audience consumer will respond to that, or Justice League Dark adaptation. Well, as I was speaking very recently, Derpy Entertainment, everything is about execution. So if he wasn't to integrate a Justice League in Chapter 1 and he has a formation of the Justice League Dark instead for now, if it's executed in a very unique way, then I think it could work, and I think the general audience will enjoy it. The general audience will enjoy anything that's entertaining and works, and they can tell that someone's really put the effort in. The general audience don't like people who are lazy, who are making fan fiction, and don't have them in mind when they're creating stuff. That's why the Snyderverse had issues. Because Zack Snyder is a very talented man. He made a great 3 DC movies, but he was making them for himself and not really the audience. Waz 007 wants to see Bondverse and wants to see other 00. Derby Entertainment, his plan, not play. Waz 007, Aaron, age 32. So exactly. So if you do a Bond movie every 5 years, it ain't going to work out. Let's say they don't start filming till he's 33. 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 38. And then, you can't do it. You have to have an existing universe. Now, people can criticize that, but that's the way it is now. That's what audiences want. They're not moving with the times. Derpy Entertainment. I just want storytelling that makes sense. Yeah, listen, it's not, look, that's the first thing. We all want for it to make sense, but we also want to see great characterizations and very entertaining films. And yeah, the great dynamics we saw in phase 1 and phase 2 of the MCU, that really worked for the general audience. So yeah, Waz 007 did like Pierce Brosnan, so did I. Derpy Entertainment, and it's going to be interesting how they execute these films, mostly who directs and who edits these films. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Look, one of the good things about having a director in charge, properly in charge, is, James Gunn, I think, probably edits his own movies. Obviously, he's very, very, you can see he's a hands-on guy. You can see that he, writes, directs his films. He's probably there with the, the composer. His films are his films. And that's a thing. And he has got an impression of what people want to see. So I think he'll be very much involved. And I think in terms of editing, I'm not worried about like the technical elements of what James Gunn's new universe can do. He's a director. I think he is integrated with a lot of famous directors. James Mangold in talks already for a Swamp Thing. If that's the level of the kind of directors he's going to bring in, that's very, very exciting. And also there won't be an issue of, kind of freedom of expression because he's a director as well. Waz 007, I like James Bond, Pierce Brosnan, more Daniel Craig. I think Pierce Brosnan is a traditional Bond, a more traditional Bond than Daniel Craig, and he's from the original timeline. I don't think they should have ever left that original timeline. At first, when I saw Casino Royale, I thought, yeah, this is going to work. But ultimately, kind of went downhill fast after that, in my opinion. Derpy Entertainment, and I do think Superman Legacy is going to be somewhat adaptation of a Superman All-Star. Well, he's pretty much said this is going to be All-Star Superman will be an influence, an inspiration rather than an adaptation. So it's, I don't think we're looking at an adaptation here. I certainly hope not, because that means he's going to kill off Superman in the first movie. If he does that, he's going to piss me off, and he's going to piss off a lot of fans. Superman must be, representative in any DC universe. Waz 007, I hear that new Bond's set in the 60s. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see. I'd be very down for that. Come on, guys. Smash the like button. Come on. Go on. Press it. Press it. You know you want to. I would love a Bond film set in the 60s. I don't think James Bond has to be contemporary. I don't even think superhero movies have to be contemporary. They can be set in the past. I think probably with what's going on these days and how everyone wants this to be like this and that, maybe all these iconic characters should be set in the past. That frees them up not to be as contemporary. Derpy Entertainment, Lanterns is going to be cool though. Lanterns is going to be very, very good. Hopefully. Obviously, we want to see Jon Stewart. We want to see Hal Jordan together. That's what David Goyer's movie was going to be, the Lantern Corps movie, the Green Lantern Corps movie. He was going to write and direct it. It was going to be like Lethal Weapon in space, This is not set in space. They're basically at their district of Earth. We've been told it's a bit like True Detective. So I'm looking forward to that. Sam Dejan reviews. Do you think we will get a new Gods movie? Very interesting, my friend, because, you know, the first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. So something there could happen as long as he doesn't bring Ava DuVernay back in play. Now, the problem is Ava DuVernay is friends with Tom King, and he's working with Tom King with this Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow thing. So if he was to bring back Ava DuVernay, I would be very, very concerned. And yeah, I will be criticizing that. Abraham Herrera, there will never be another scene as stressful as the scene where Bond has his balls hanging from that chair. That was insane. Yes, and I felt it. I fucking felt it. I think every bloke felt that. Very clever. Waz 007, if make film on Imran Khan ex-PM, Pakistani lot, I want Pierce Brosnan play Imran Khan. Interesting. Sam Dejan reviews, Zack Snyder should direct New Gods or Lanterns. Derpy Entertainment, no. What are you saying no to? What are you saying no to? But, yeah, so this negativity that continues from some fans isn't helping. It doesn't hurt what James Gunn's doing and Peter Safran's doing. You're not going to stop it. I mean, I heard one person saying they're not having my money. They're not asking for your money. They're not asking for you to keep watching. It's up to you. You know, it's your choice. I mean, how will these people react if and when this new franchise is successful? That will be really funny as well. I think they'll get even worse if it is successful. But it is interesting to see if he brings a Justice League in, because no mention of the Justice League yet. I find that very interesting. Derpy Entertainment, unless he doesn't write the film, I'm okay with it. He can direct. He's pretty busy right now. Listen, I don't know what James Gunn's doing behind the scenes, or even if he has any interest in working with Zack Snyder. Obviously, there's a lot more directors out there than Zack Snyder. Waz 007, I like Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. He was excellent as Dr. Fate. Excellent. I really liked that. I like the Black Adam film. I certainly don't agree it was a bad film. That's for sure. But it just didn't make the money. There wasn't a hunger for a Black Adam film. That's the thing. I think probably the best things about the film were everything but Black Adam, if I'm being honest. But it's part of the problems that the old DCEU had. You know, they just weren't giving people what they wanted. It wasn't structured how James Gunn and Peter Safran, you know, coming in like professionals, setting out the beginning of a slate. Waz 007, I hope Pierce Brosnan came back to play Bond. Can't see it. You never know. You never know. I mean, that would be unprecedented. I think that would make a lot of people excited. They would question it because of his age, but I'd certainly be down for it, yeah. I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening, but who knows? I think that would get them out of a hole for now. I think that Piers was treated disgustingly. I think he was retired as Bond far too early. His Bond films all made money. Derpy Entertainment, I want Bryan Singer back, who did Superman Returns. He understands the time and character for Superman Legacy. If James Gunn is writing the film, Derpy Entertainment, he understood the tone. Well, unfortunately, my friend, I like Singer as a director, and he's a pioneer in terms of X-Men. And I think there's a lot about Superman Returns that I love, but I'm afraid there's a lot of accusations going on with Bryan Singer, and he's literally been cancelled out of the industry. So, I mean, if it wasn't for these accusations, I'd say yeah, but it isn't going to happen, unfortunately. Waz 007, Pierce Brosnan looks great for his age. I agree. Derpy Entertainment. Oh, Brian Branch. So we're getting to Clark Kent. That's in his mid-20s, but we are getting a Bruce Wayne that's in his mid-30s to his early 40s. I'm confused. Is it because of the Rotten Pattinson as Batman? Right. No one has said that Batman's going to be in his mid-30s. We've been told, maybe, probably, that Superman will be around 25. Nobody's actually told us Batman's age. I'm guessing if Superman's 25, Batman may be 30, but maybe Batman will be a little bit older. I'm not sure. There's always going to be this thing where if you've got a young Batman in the Batman universe, maybe they want to mix it up a bit. So I'm not that worried about that. Louis Berry, hope the Snyderverse comes back with an Elseworld series. Hope to get at least the air cut of Suicide Squad 2016 and the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. John, did you ever see the Catwoman movie? Never seen the movie, and I'm never going to see that movie. Never. Where are we? Derpy Entertainment. I didn't know that. Waz 007. I wish Pierce Brosnan made 2 bombs before leaving. Louis Berry. Hope to get Josh Brolin as Batman. That's a good pick, actually, isn't it? I like that, Louis. Austin Butler as Soups. That would be great. Alexander Skarsgård as Aquaman. Wow. Jamie Alexander as Wonder Woman. Michael B. Jordan as Cyborg. Yeah. Timothy Chalamet as Barry Allen, The Flag. I like that. You better get them to employ you as a casting director. Derpy Entertainment, then the only 2 guys to do it is Sam Raimi or Spielberg. Yeah, listen, James has been very non-committal whether he's going to direct that film or not. So he hasn't said he's directing it. So I would imagine that maybe he won't direct it. And that's an interesting situation, and we'll wait and see who ends up directing it. But yeah, I mean, if he's looking at James Mangold for Swamp Thing, then you can see what kind of level of directors he's looking to get in, the highest quality. It's exactly what we want to see. I'm not overly fussed what decisions he makes with the HBO Max universe, because the most important thing are the cinematic properties as far as I'm concerned. Islam Love, I hope your channel grows, Mick. Thank you, Islam. I appreciate your positive thoughts there. Waz 007, Jamie Alexander is better actress than Gal. She is wooden. I like Gal. I think she's amazing. And Jamie Alexander's also good. Derpy Entertainment. I want Spielberg, though. Who wouldn't want Spielberg? I would fucking take my clothes off. If you told me Spielberg was doing it now, I'd strip down to my boxer shorts and I would dance and sit in my boxer shorts for the rest of the live. A terrible visual treat for you lot, but that's how happy I would be. Sam Dejan Reviews. I want Matthew Vaughn to direct Superman Legacy, another great director. John, the Catwoman movie was more bad than Birds of Prey. Yeah, I mean, look, I've seen clips of it. I can't bring myself. I love the character of Catwoman, and it's a disgrace. Nothing to do with Halle, but it's a disgrace. I mean, look, I don't mind seeing Halle Berry in a tight leather outfit. Halle Berry is a very attractive woman and a talented actor. But yeah, terrible. I think Birds of Prey isn't all bad, but I think its agenda against men is the problem. Islam Lam, hey bud, it's been announced that the extended family will feature in the Batman movie. What do you mean? You mean James Gunn's Batman movie, not Matt Reeves, right? I know that. Yeah, Derpy Entertainment. I want Melissa Fire Manhunt. She's 34 and Greek. Well, I'm a Greek Cypriot. That would be cool. Islam Lam, 3 likes only. Come on, everyone. Like the stream and subscribe. Yeah, unfortunately, the people who watch my videos are not very kind with likes, I'm afraid. That's just one of those things. Waz 007, Matthew Vaughn wanted to direct Superman. He did, yep. Derpy Entertainment for Wonder Woman. Derpy Entertainment for Wonder Woman. Islam Love, yup. Thank you for the likes so far. If you've liked the video, thank you very, very much. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to Movies TV Mad. This is the place for news, views on DC, other entertainment. And we pretty much got knowledge on most things. Some of the new stuff I'm not into. I don't watch every new release because I think today's industry is shit. And I wouldn't be a Mama's Geeky, for example, who's doing very well, making a lot of money from a YouTube channel. She interviews people, but I couldn't put myself through that. I can't. I'm too honest. It's too straightforward. I can't pretend I like shit. I don't. Wes 007, I like you on video. Thank you. A like is very good. A like is brilliant. It helps the channel. Interactions help the channel. If you see a video I've recorded, comment. Interactions help the channel if you want the channel to grow. If you don't comment. It's fine. I won't hold it against you. Islam Love, Miles Teller for Batman. Who do you think would be a good bat? Miles Teller would be interesting. I'm not against that. I think what the other guy said, I forgot his name. I forgot the guy who played Thanos. I think, yeah, Josh Brolin. I think Josh Brolin would be an outstanding Batman. Can't see it happening. Well, actually, with James being involved with the MCU, he's got those connections, of course. So, yeah, I think most people in the industry like James Gunn, I think. Not everyone, I suppose, but I think he could get most directors to work with him. He could get most actors to work with him, and I think people like working with James. So, yeah, be amazing. Islam Land, too old Joshy, probably. Islam Love, so what is Bat's age? We don't know his age. I'm guessing about 30. Some people are guessing around 40. I don't know. Wes 007, John Hamm is a good for Batman. He's probably a bit too old now as well. Abraham, problem is after all the disaster that actors have been through, I doubt actors are eager to work for DC. I don't agree, Abraham. I don't agree at all. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, we're not talking about an actor here. We're talking about James Mangold directing Swamp Thing. Don't forget, this is a new Warner Brothers. This is not the same Warner Brothers. It's not the same DC. This is new leadership. So I don't think look, and plus, anyone who knows anything about actors and the union knows that it's very hard to get work. No one's turning down an opportunity to work with James Gunn, Peter Safran, and who knows who else could be working in there. And I think James Mangold being interested and teasing Swamp Thing proves to you that everyone is interested. That's the old leadership. What happened, Abraham. I'm afraid we can't go with it forever. I'm a DC fan. I can't sit here forever punishing the studio for things that have happened in the past. I want DC to be great. So we must move on. It happened. It's over. It's done. We have 3 Zack Snyder movies. Let's treasure them. And let's look to the future. And if the future is bleak when these things happen and are released, I'll speak the truth, as I always have since 2018. But right now, I've seen a very interesting, exciting slate as far as I'm concerned. And if it ends up badly, I will call it out. But right now, I think it's exciting. Islam Love, but when does Bat start his career? 20 or 25? I'm not sure. I would say more 25, maybe even 30. Not sure. Was 007, I think Batman age 30 or 40 for DCU. Islam Love, 40 will be Ben Affleck territory. Yeah, we've already been there. I'm not sure what James Gunn and Peter Safran are thinking there. Islam Love, 40 will be Ben Affleck. Yeah, we've read that. Islam Love, Bat should be no older than 30 to 32. Max, that's the kind of age I would like to see. And because I think Superman's 25, I think Batman probably has always been slightly older than Superman. I'm not sure, but that's what I think. The important thing when you're characterizing Superman is that you understand that Superman, kind of the difference between Superman and Lex Luthor is that Superman controls his temper and Lex Luthor can't. And that's the difference between Superman. He wields so much power that he has to hold back. And that's what makes him the great hero that he is. Well, Zach had 5 movie art for DC films. Islam Love, he needs it for experience and prep time, especially against metahumans. Yeah, I mean, look, that's what makes Superman. The point is, Superman doesn't want to hurt people, even his enemies. So there's a great moment in Smallville in season 2 when Pete doesn't understand why Clark did, this weird scientist tries to kill Clark, and Pete doesn't understand why he let him live, and Clark tries to explain, just like I can't let you die to protect my secret, I can't let anyone else die to protect my secret. That's who Superman is. He's different to Batman. He's different to Green Arrow. This guy really was brought up with Midwestern values, and this is what makes him special. The point that he doesn't just want to kill people or burn people with his heat vision. And some fans, I'm afraid, modern fans, a certain fandom, will never understand that. Why it's important that he has these morals, because it sets him apart from everybody else. Waz 007, how old do you think Nightwing in DCU? Oh, well, 20? Should we say 20? 20 to 25? I don't know. Yeah, around that. Islam Lang, hang on. If Damien is 10, then Bats start at 20. Otherwise, there will be inconsistencies. Well, I don't think Batman will be as young as 20. I think he'll be slightly older than that. I think if you add another 10 years, I think that's fine. But we don't know if he's going to be 10 or 11 or 12. Who knows? Who knows? I'm sure the age will be consistent with what it needs to be. I'm sure they've done their maths properly, and yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I expect Batman to be at least 30 years old. Islam Lam, no, I mean, if Damien is 10, then Bats has to be at least 30. Yeah. And that's what I've worked out, at least 30. Obviously, I mean, I had a god brother who got someone pregnant at 13 years old. So these things do happen, but I'm not trying to say that will be a good thing for Batman, obviously. But yeah, so he'll be around. I think he'll be around that 30 age mark. I think for sure. I'm sure they thought about it very deeply. Waz 007, I hope get real cool Batcave. So do I. I'm sure we will. I hope we will. These are all part of the trappings of a great Batman mythos. Batcave, Batmobile, gadgets. Islam Lab, is Bats Bat God in Morrison's version? I'm not sure. I've not read Morrison's version, so I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out as time gets ahead of us. But as I say, when you hear kind of a slate with Batman and Superman, and they're calling a Batman movie Brave and the Bold, and they're doing a Supergirl movie adapted from a really good comic. Didn't sell very well, but it is a good comic from what I've been told. I think it's exciting. But of course, there are red flags with certain situations. We're going to have to see how it plays out. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but we're going to have to see how it all works. Islam Love, I hope it's as I hate a bumbling, stupid Batman, aka the Batman Pattinson. I don't see him as a bumbling Batman, to be honest. Waz 007, I happy older Batman. Also glad Batman not young. Yeah, I mean, look, we've got a young Batman in the Batverse, in Matt Reeves' The Batverse, and that's fine. We found out today that the Penguin HBO Max show, which is all to do with the Reevesverse, will be 8 episodes long, will be 1 week after the Batman movie, and I'm very excited. And Colin Farrell has said the next Penguin feature will pretty much continue straight after that. We will see. Islam Love, it takes him time to work out riddles. He's slow. No, I think what we saw was a detective drama and the human mind working to work these things out. I don't think, Batman's clever, but, he ain't fucking Einstein, but he works them out. I think he works them out in the right pace. So, yeah, I don't agree there. But, of course, we're all entitled to our opinions. That's what makes life interesting. If everyone agreed, it will be a very, very boring world, wouldn't it? We don't want agreement all the time. Waz 007, do you think Batman and Superman will die after 10 years? No. If it's a successful franchise, it will just keep on going. Abraham Herrera, Colin Farrell was the highlight of that movie. Colin Farrell was amazing. Obviously, they made him look amazing. But yeah, Colin Farrell, Abraham, has always been a great actor. And as I've said on here before, my favourite performance from Colin is Phone Booth. That really is a great performance. Him and Kiefer Sutherland are just electric. I mean, we never see Kiefer in the movie, but it's a great voice performance. And I think that film, and you know, Joel Schumacher directed a great film. A lot of talk last night on this live show about Joel Schumacher's Batman, but Joel Schumacher, of course, did more than 2 Batman films. Very, very prominent, great director. And Joel Schumacher directed a great Phone Booth movie, and Colin Farrell is outstanding. Unfortunately for Colin, sometimes he's picked bad projects, but obviously the Batman and the Penguin is one of the best kind of decisions he's made, and it's not rocket science to want to work with Matt Reeves and Batman, is it? Abraham Herrera, Phone Booth is very underrated. Yeah, look, modern day movie fans don't have a fucking clue about good movies, my friend. Phone Booth is fucking outstanding. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It's amazing. It's tension. It's Die Hard in a fucking phone booth. It's amazing. Abraham Herrera is the type of movie that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Even if you've seen it before, even if you rewatch it, it still keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's very 24-ish, isn't it? It's very Die Hard 24-ish, and I think it works. It's great. And, you know, it just shows you the quality of Joel Schumacher, because it's a shame that kind of the new kids on the block, when they think Joel Schumacher, just think of 2 Batman films. But this is how short-sighted the movie stand is today. Waz 007 Phone Booth get remake for Bollywood called Knockout. I think I'll stick with the version I like. I don't really watch Bollywood, to be honest. I don't watch every single movie or TV show, even though I'm called Movies TV Mad. Now, back in the day, I have, you know, from 2000 to about 2011, I used to get up every morning and watch every American Engineer show. 24, Lost, Prison Break, Smallville. I watched all of them. And I used to put up on Twitter, Today's Event TV. I used to review them all on Instagram. It was fucking nuts. There wasn't anything I wouldn't watch. Now, because of streaming, I think the quality's gone down, and I'm not really interested with the way modern stuff is made so much. Islam Love, hate a skinny Batman like Pattinson. I don't think he's skinny. I think he's got great muscle, and I wouldn't hate someone because they were skinny either. So, yeah, there you go. Waz 007, do you like Jackie Chan? I have never seen a Jackie Chan movie in my life. I grew up with a few Bruce Lee movies. Bruce was the master. I loved his son Brandon Lee in The Crow. But yeah, not much knowledge of Jackie Chan. Isn't that the Batman better be as big as Chris Hemsworth? Maybe Chris Hemsworth could be Batman. How about that? How about that? How about that, everyone? How about Chris Hemsworth for Batman? I'm gonna pin that. I'm gonna pin that up. To wind everyone up when they come in. We're going to pin that. Chris Hemsworth would make a good Aquaman, Waz 007, yeah. Islam, hell no. I actually see potential in that. But yeah, actually, I do feel that Chris Hemsworth would actually make a great Aquaman. Chris Hemsworth's great. I think he's very pissed off with what happened with the last Thor movie as well. So maybe we won't get him back as Thor. It'll be interesting. Islam Love, his four is too iconic. Well, it doesn't mean he can't play any other roles, does it? Chris is a good actor. Chris is a good lad. Islam Love, what's your Insta? I can't remember right now, but I don't talk about anything on my Insta anymore. I used to review stuff, but I don't do it on my Insta anymore. My Insta is literally me prancing around, dancing in my boxers. I do body positivity on my Instagram, so Islam Love, 5 people in the chat on 3 likes. Come on. We've got 5 people in the chat from what I can see here, and we have 6 likes thus far. Yeah, look, I'm not a big channel. I'm afraid. I accept it, and we see. But thank you, Islam. West said Chris Hemsworth can play He-Man. Chris Hemsworth would also make a great He-Man, yeah? I think that Chris Hemsworth would make an interesting Batman. Abraham Herrera, Captain America will always be Human Torch too. Yes, and look what happened. Everyone, when Chris was cast, I mean, a few years back when he was younger, I was screaming for Chris Evans to play Superman, perfect Superman, because Captain America and Superman, in terms of personality, are very similar. And I think back in the day when he was younger, Chris would have made a great Superman. I really do. But good point there, Abraham. Islam Love. He, he, he. I think if you've got 6 people in your chat and you've got a flowing conversation, it's fine. You know, I'm not monetized. I'm not doing this to get super chats. I can't get super chats, so it's cool. Why is 007 Tom Hardy as bad guy for Bond? Tom Hardy as Bond. Tom Hardy as, you know, someone in the DCU. I think he would be amazing. But I'm a big fan of taking unknown actors and giving them opportunities as well. Whereas 007, yeah, Chris Evans would great choice for Superman. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think he's probably coming up to what? Is it 40 now? Late 30s? So it's a bit late for him. But yeah, at the time when he was younger, Chris would have made a great Superman. Iconic. Be very interesting who James casts as Superman and Batman. Very excited. So because if Batman is slightly older, Chris Evans would make a great Batman as well. Abraham, Tom Hardy for Bond would be more like it. Yeah. Tom Hardy and, the franchise being run by Christopher Nolan would be perfect. Waz 007, Chris Evans, age 41. Yes, so he's far too old to play Superman, but maybe not too old to play Batman. Ahmed Hikal, movies, TV man, I'm back. Let's DC talk. Go for it, Ahmed. Welcome to the chat. You're always welcome on here. So let's talk about anything you want to talk about. I'm here to answer your questions and your queries and listen to your opinions and give you my opinions off the back of your opinions. And this is what it's all about. I'm not monetized. There's no super chats. I'm not making any money. I'm here because I love what you love. And that's it. And yes, of course, I'm trying to build up the channel. Of course I am. And I'm not going to pretend I'm not here to build up the channel as well. But I'm also here because I love geek shit. The animator who laughs. Dave Bautista is dark side. Dave's side. No, Dave. Oh, Dave Bautista. Oh, I mean, Dave gets kind of, fan cast for everything, doesn't he? Not for me. Chris Evans will be back for Marvel Secret Wars. Yes, I think he will. I think Robert Downey Jr. will probably come back as well. It's interesting. I mean, not many people are talking about Marvel. It'd be interesting what kind of box office Ant-Man does this month. I think it's been released this month. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think the fact that Kang the Conqueror is back since Loki, I think that film will have some peak interest. I mean, MCU movies should always make quite a bit of money, even if they don't take $1 billion. I mean, Phase 4 last year was a disaster in terms of if you think every superhero movie needs to make $1 billion. Islam Love, why the same shirt? Why not? So basically, this is how it happens, right? I have a blue shirt and a pink shirt. So when I do a video, so basically, the pink shirt was washed. Actually, it's getting wet outside right now. So what I do is, before I do a video, I take my jumper off and I put this on. Then I take it off and I'll wear this on my videos for a whole week. And that's what I do. But I don't wear it in my everyday life. I just put these shirts on during the video. So yeah, I don't see the issue. Why would I wear different shirts every video? Yeah, I don't understand that. What do you wear every day? You know, no one's going to query what you wear. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, nothing wrong with wearing the same shirt on 5 or 6, 7 videos. You know, I mean, come on. Ahmed Hickow. So what do you think of DC exploring other characters like Swamp Thing without exploring founding members of the JL? Well, Ahmed, we don't know if they're not going to explore finding members of the JL. For example, if we've got a Swamp Thing movie, maybe the Justice League Dark characters will be explored, the founding members, in that Swamp Thing movie. And maybe that's the beginning of building out a Justice League Dark universe. So without you knowing the details, you can't say that they're not going to show us founding members of Justice League Justice League Dark. What I think is that a Swamp Thing horror movie is an awesome idea, and it's one of the most exciting things in the slate that's been announced thus far. John, the big question is, can Marvel get Ben Affleck for Secret Wars? I don't know. I mean, just doesn't interest me, John. I mean, Ben Affleck is great. I love him. Whatever he does, he's got my blessing. But yeah, it's not something I think about deeply. Abraham Harry, in the animated series, Martian Manhunter was really cool, but they never consider him for the live action. Even Zack used him because they wouldn't let him use Green Lantern. Yeah, he was an afterthought, wasn't he? Well, but in Smallville, Abraham, we had a very prominent Martian Manhunter in the Justice League. We met Martian Manhunter, a great version of Martian Manhunter for a low-budgeted TV series like Smallville, introduced in season 6. We saw him again in season 7. And I think, if I remember, we saw him in season 8, but then he vanished a little bit after that. But he was great. Martian Manhunter was great. Yeah, we saw him in Absolute Justice as well, the Jeff Johns movie event on Smallville. So, yes, Smallville used him, but in live action, he's not being used. I hope they use him. And who's to say they won't? Islam Love, Homer Simpson. Ahmed Hickow, it's a good idea, but it just seems foggy and we don't know what path James Gunn is trying to take. The animator who laughs. I think the new gods will be introduced in chapter 1. I have that suspicion, considering that chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters. So there's a clue there, isn't there? So I think you've got a point there. Islam Love, Gunn should have copied the animated series GLA BTAS. Scott Edwards, what's up? Good evening, Scott. The animator who laughs. Have you ever watched Justice League Gods and Monsters? I have, and I love it. And if that's what we're going to get in live action, bring it on. And I think this is where we're going with chapter 1, aren't we? I think it is a focus on Justice League Dark over the Justice League. Just a suspicion I have, considering he hasn't mentioned the Justice League. But I think it's a great slate. I genuinely think it's a great slate. And, you know, I don't see the issue. Scott Edwards, Darkseid is the main villain of chapter 1. Maybe, or they may use another god, but that wouldn't surprise me. Look, the clue is it's called Gods and Monsters. Ahmed Hickow, the one thing I want to take a chance from Snyderverse, other than Superman, is Darkseid. He was fire. Yeah, listen, let's be honest about it. You know, Justice League, the Snyder Cut, was a fantastic film. No question about that. And, you know, even though some of Zack's fans are very negative people and trigger me, I won't judge Zack Snyder on the negative elements of his fans. Zack Snyder's a fine man, a fine parent, a fine filmmaker. Can't wait till Rebel Moon. And I like what Zack did with DC. It just wasn't for a general audience, and it didn't suit what the studio wanted to do. And that's also understandable. Waz007, do you think Henry Cavill might go to Marvel? May do. Again, like stuff like that doesn't interest me. Don't care. John, maybe they could show the new gods at the end of chapter 1. Maybe. Abraham wrote, Gods and Monsters is an animated movie. I want to check it out. Yeah, check it out. Scott Edwards, Ares as the leader of Legion of Doom. Maybe. Scott Edwards, excited for Flash final season premieres next week? Not overly excited, to be honest with you, but I'm glad people are getting their final season, and I hope they get what they want. Islam Love, not the authority. Islam Love, why are the unknown guys? No one's going to watch them. I don't think that's true, Islam, at all. I think people will be interested in watching them. There's lots of unknown characters in DC, and where's the law? Where's the law in the Senate or Parliament that says you can't introduce stuff that people don't know? And if James makes them good, and it's a passion project of his, I think he will make them good. I think they will be successful, and I'm looking forward to that. Ahmed Higo, so when exactly Super Bowl trailer will drop online? So basically, the Super Bowl trailers do drop online as soon as they come up. Obviously, for us in Europe, we'll probably have to wait till Monday at some point to see them. Scott Edwards, do you like Arrowverse Iris? Yeah, I think she's okay. Abraham Herrera, I used to love The Flash. I'll show up for the series finale just to see how it all ends. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think they're going to try and please as many of the fans and make it more of a finale for Arrowverse, because Arrowverse hasn't actually had a proper finale. So I think The Flash the whole season is actually a celebration of Arrowverse rather than just The Flash, and that is exciting. Abraham Herrera, I used to love, oh no, I've already read that. Getting old, reading the same stuff. It's me nerves. Welcome to Movies TV Man, Ahmed Hikal. To be honest, I don't know the authority, neither do I, but I'm still excited. The description for them sounds interesting. Just because I don't know something doesn't mean I'm not interested in it. Just because I meet a stranger and become friends, it doesn't mean I don't want to be friends with them because they're strangers, do I? It's good to discover new things and to embrace new things. And if it works out for you personally, great. And if it doesn't, you don't bother with it. That's the way life works. Someone puts a new food under your nose, you try it, you don't like it, you don't try it again. And that's how it works, isn't it? That's how I look at life. But to say, oh, it's different and no one's going to want to watch it, I think, nah, I don't agree with that at all. I'm sorry. Islam Luck, he should have introduced the Core 7 JLA Justice League of America members first, then introduced the newbies, aka Marvel. Abraham Herrera, is there any animated movies that would give me an idea of what James Gunn is trying to do? If so, please recommend them to me. Okay, Abraham, wait there. Keep on talking, people. Oops, I think you heard that. Right, here we are. So, my camera's going apeshit. Right, Abraham, are you watching? Right, this is Constantine, City of Demons. I think Constantine will be in that Swamp Thing movie. So this is an animated movie called Constantine, City of Demons. Matt Ryan, the brilliant Matt Ryan from the Constantine TV series, voices Constantine. So Constantine, City of Demons, the movie. Then you've got Justice League Dark, right? So here, you've even got Batman in this movie. Pretty cool. And he does join the Justice League Dark team. Then you've got, now this is an interesting one, and I think this could give you a big clue in what James Gunn is doing in Chapter 1. Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. And I think this could be actually what James Gunn is planning. Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. I think this, Abraham, could be something that you need to see. I haven't seen this for ages, but I think this will be a very interesting movie for you to watch. Waz 007, I hope get Nightwing to a TV show or film, or Red Hood film or TV show. Waz 007, I hope get the question and Ted Cole, Blue Beetle in the DCU. Scott Edwards, have you seen the Star Wars Siege of Mandalore movie? I think I have. The animated one you're talking about. I think I have. Waz 007, did like Justice League War? I did. Ahmed Hickow, it will be interesting if James Gunn ends his movies chapter with an Injustice movie. Yes, because we only know some of the first chapter, don't we? Abraham Herrera, you're the man, Mick. I will watch them today and tomorrow. I'll give you my thoughts. Yes, please, Abraham. But I think the one I told you last, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, considering it's called Gods and Monsters, the first chapter, I think Justice League Dark Apocalypse War maybe could be where we're going. I think that Swamp Thing will be an ally rather than an enemy. I think obviously he'll need to be tamed, and I think there is a good relationship in the comics and some of the animation between John Constantine and Swamp Thing, and sometimes he does help them. In fact, in one of these movies, I think he does help. He does need persuading, but so I think Swamp Thing could be a very interesting character going forward. Islam Love, awesome movies, agree. The Animator Who Laughs, since they're introducing Damien, that could mean the Teen Titans exist. Oh yeah, I think this is what they're looking to do. He's going to do all the great stuff that people have said, why didn't the DCEU do any of this stuff? He's doing it. That's why I don't understand the angle I do from a certain bunch of people, because they're only here for a director and not DC. I get it. Why is 007? I like under Red Hood cartoon films, so do I. Scott Edwards. Gunn confirmed other Bat family members will be in The Brave and the Bold. Islam Love. Abraham, buy the movies. Don't stream illegally. WB needs the money. Bat Super. I think the DCEU will have a Justice League, and we will see them towards the end of Phase 1. Maybe you're right. The Animator Who Laughs, Mick, do you think they should recast Dr. Fate and Hawkman? I think that would be unfair. I think there's a chance for the actor who played Hawkman to come back. I think Dr. Fate now will change. I don't think they'll stick with Pierce Brosnan. That's how I see that. Scott Edwards, Justice League, Throne of Atlantis. I've not seen that one. Abraham Herrera, I'll buy the digital version. I'm a DC fan. Aren't we all? That's why we're here, isn't it? But I mean, I don't talk about if I've ever pirated before or not. It's just something that obviously I think every person has had to do sometimes, especially with copyright laws today, where you've got HBO Max and it's not available in every country, or Disney Plus not available in every country, or maybe you've got to buy a DNS or something, because that's the reality of the situation, and that's not our fault. If Disney Plus and HBO Max were available in every single country, neither of them available here in Cyprus, there would be no need for any, under the table situations. Why is 007? Do you own any DC action figure? Now, these were all presents anyway. So there's Superman. There's Superman there. There's Superman again, right? That's pretty cool, right? And I think this looks like the one from the animated series. And then we've got a Robin. I'm not sure which Robin this is. I'm sure one of you nerds will know what Robin that is. And they're my action figures. I don't buy stuff like this. It was given to me. Squid, the Siege of Mandalore is where Ahsoka fought Maul in a lightsaber duel. I think I have seen it. Islam Love, good man. The money will go towards the new DCU. Scott Edwards, Hemsworth is done as Thor after the next Avengers movies, I think. Waz 007, Tim Drake Robin. Oh, is that who it is? Tim Drake. I thought it might be him. I wasn't sure though, because I don't really know. But I knew the costume looked a bit different than the standard one. So yeah, makes sense. Oh yes, I don't really, but yeah, I would never buy like Alka Pop. Well, the Funko Pops, not Alka Pops, the Funko Pops. I would never buy stuff like that because it's all money. Got to be careful, ain't you, in life? I'm about buying the DVDs, the Blu-rays, not the DVDs, but the 4Ks. I like to collect them. I like to have a digital copy of all my DC stuff as well. I don't have all the animated movies because it's a big collection. I have a lot of them though. Squaredos, MCU is ending with Kang, Dynasty, and Secret Wars, I think. I'd be very surprised if the MCU ever ends, but we will see. We will see. I don't see it ending. It makes money. It makes money. And I think as long as it makes money, it will carry on. And if the DCEU made money, then James Gunn wouldn't be here now. It's about making great shit, and it's about it being entertaining and making money at the same time. We have 9 people in the chat. Don't be shy. Have a comment. I'll be very nice and respectful. Right. Scott Edwards, can we have a Mandalorian Season 3 prep discussion? We can if you want. Yep. Waz 007, get Sidman 52 action figure. I got Nightwing action figure, Arkham Knight, Howard Jordan Green Lantern, and The Flash. Very good. I think The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be very Game of Thronesy. I think the battle for the dark saber is going to begin, and I think that's a Game of Thrones type of power struggle, and that's how I always saw The Mandalorian Season 3, so I'm kind of excited for that. The animated who lost, who do you think would win in a fight between Green Lantern and The Flash? Well, obviously, the Flash has got the Speed Force, but I think a Green Lantern has just got many more abilities, and weapons. And I think in the end, I think the Flash would be cannon fodder. Scott Edwards, what all are you gonna do to get hype prepared for Mando season 3? Maybe rewatch the first 2 seasons, maybe. Abraham Herrera, it's done. I bought it. I will check out City of Demons after. Awesome, Abraham. But I think they're the kind of titles, animated titles, that I think could be where James Gunn is going with this. So, because there's no question that James has the knowledge of the animated show. James has a great knowledge in geek culture. There's no question about that. Scott Edwards, do you like Orm better as bad guy or anti-hero? I think Orm is a really good anti-hero, but I think in the first Aquaman movie, he was absolutely sensational. I mean, interesting this year with the upcoming DC movies. What movies have been sounding like people are going to like them? I think test screenings have been very positive about the Flash movie and Blue Beetle. I think people thought that Shazam: Fury of the Gods was okay, and I haven't heard much buzz for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Scott Edwards, he's kind of like Loki. No, I don't think he's like Loki at all, if you're talking about Orm. Wires Douglas and did know Pierce Brosnan was offered Tim Burton Batman, but turned down. He didn't turn it down. He didn't get the role. He didn't get the role. He put his foot in it. But he didn't turn it down. He just didn't get it. Scott Edwards, how do you mean? How do I mean what? I don't think Orm and Loki can be compared at all. I don't think Orm and Loki are the same thing. Laszlo and Pierce Brosnan was good Batman. He would have been in his prime for sure. Not anymore though. I think Pierce Brosnan has had a great career post James Bond. He's done very, very well for himself. Scott Edwards, why do people hate Book of Boba Fett? Because I think, like me, Scott, I've always felt that there's not a place for a central story, a central series, about Boba Fett or a movie. He's just not a very interesting character. And me and a lot of people find Boba Fett, the series, very mid. Abraham Herrera, Orm is a spoiled kid and Loki is another thing entirely. Scott Edwards, they both characters that have been both bad guys and anti-heroes and both are brother or major hero. Yeah, that's a very loose comparison, isn't it, Scott? I wouldn't compare, a flimsy MCU character or a Marvel character with the depth of Orm. I think we saw what a deep character, an interesting character he was in James Wan's Aquaman movie, and very different to the direction, the comical direction that Loki has taken in the MCU. So I think they're very, very different characters. I don't really like comparing DC, superior DC characters with inferior Marvel characters. Waz 007, who favourite actors? My favourite actors, Kevin Costner, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Ray Liotta, Michael C. Hall, who played Dexter, one of the most brilliant actors ever, Scott Bakula, who played Sam Beckett in Quantum Leap. I could go on all night. The art form has had a lot of great actors. There's so many great actors. Jeremy Irons, absolutely fantastic, especially in Dead Ringers, written and directed by David Cronenberg. Yeah, lots of great actors out there. Christian Bale, a sensational actor. I don't think anyone's performed Batman as well as he did, and Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins. Waz Douglas, my favourite actor, Tom Cruise, David Hasselhoff and Chris Evans. Pierce Brosnan, Harrison Ford, Henry Cavill. Scott Edwards, thrown in Mando Season 3 or we won't see him to Ashoka. He may cameo, but yeah, I don't really think he's a Mando character, but maybe he'll be introduced in Mando, maybe. Bat Super, Michael C. Hall played Batman in Justice League Gods and Monsters. That's right, I forgot about that. Michael C. Hall, for his performance in Dexter, will always be remembered. An amazing actor, a sensational. 6 Feet Under, great performances there as well. Michael C. Hall is one of the best actors I've ever seen in my life. Amazing. You haven't seen Dexter? It's about a guy with serial killer tendencies who decides to pry his addiction of wanting to kill in killing other killers and other serial killers. And he becomes a bit of an anti-hero. A great series that went for 8 seasons, and then they did a reunion kind of thing. They brought an extra season. But Dexter is one of the most finest shows ever, and Michael C. Hall is class. Simple as that. I think Dexter, first 3 or 4 seasons are probably some of the best television you'll ever see. And no streaming show can compete with the kind of TV engineer shows we used to get. There's not one thing on streaming that can compete with Dexter, 24, Prison Break, Lost. Scott Edwards, we need Superman, Black Lightning, Wild White Canary and Supergirl in the Flash series finale. Yes, I think it will be a proper Arrowverse finale. Let's see who they can get. It will be interesting. Abraham Arrow, Criminal Minds was fantastic too, the first few seasons at least. Yeah, look, I like all them. Criminal Minds, NCIS, which I think is still going. But yeah, some great shows. Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. What a show that is as well. Still going after all these years. Kind of like Simpsons level kind of longevity. Amazing. Scott Edwards, who do you predict will be there? I think they will bring in from Arrowverse who they can and who's available. I think I'd like to see Melissa Benoist. I'd definitely like to see her. Would Tyler Hoechlin come in to play the Arrowverse version of Superman? Maybe. Who knows? Waz007, who's your favourite team member? A team member? Ooh. That's an interesting one. Howling Mad Murdoch was fun, wasn't he? Waz007, my favourite was BA. I like BA, yeah, he was cool. Crazy Fool! Hannibal, I don't like it when you start to jazz! I think my personality is definitely more Howling Mad Murdoch, though. There's no way you could have a character called Mad. Basically, someone who's insane, because everyone will be going, you're offending people with, mental health disorders, of course. That's where we would be today. So you can't do anything anymore. You can't do anything anymore. There's no fun at anything anymore. Everything's so utterly serious. We can't offend this one. We can't offend that one. We can't sing this song. We can't sing that song. That's where we are. A very touchy, fragile human race we've become. And God help us if World War III is ignited. Because simply, mentally and psychologically and strength-wise, we're not the people from the Second World War. We would not fucking survive. And it's as simple as that. Waz007, the A-Team and Knight Rider always will be great show. Oh, yes. The A-Team and Knight Rider. Knight Rider was my fantasy fulfillment. Michael Knight, Kit the Car. That relationship was the strength of that show between Michael and Kit. Amazing show. It wasn't a serious show or anything, but it was fun. And, in the 80s, to have a car that can do what Kit can do was just, amazing. Phenomenal stuff. Fun. Waz007, I hope don't World War III. Well, I hope we don't have World War III, my friend, but it ain't looking good, is it? Abraham Arrow, the new the Shyamalan movie, Knock at the Cabin, seems interesting. Yeah, I've read some reviews, Abraham, some not very charitable, some more charitable. But I think in modern day terms, I think it's good. But I think if you compare it to anything kind of, which I think from the superior of entertainment, it falls flat very quickly. But I think if you just watch modern movies and you don't compare it to superior filmmaking, then I think, yeah, you could have a good time with it. But yeah, look, M. Night Shyamalan is a very good director. He gets a lot of shit, but I think he still does good stuff. And he's a very polite, well-mannered people, especially if people don't like his movies. He doesn't take, he doesn't become objective. He doesn't become rude if you don't like his stuff. Bat Super, MacGyver, never liked that. Knight Rider cool. Magnum PI was fun, and Charlie's Angels was fun. But I never really got into MacGyver. I was never a MacGyver person. Waz007, what favourite Indiana Jones film? I have a soft spot for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That's the one a lot of people don't like. I think it's a pretty cool one. But I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. I love Last Crusade with Harrison and obviously Sean Connery. That's a great one. And I don't mind the Crystal Skull movie. Again, the Crystal Skull is a bit like Spider-Man 3 or Batman and Robin. People just dismiss them. I don't think these things are that bad. I don't think the Crystal Skull is a bad movie whatsoever. Waz007, my favourite Indiana Jones is Doom. Pretty good movie. I like it. Welcome to Movies TV Mad. If you're new to the channel, we're live every evening. Subscribe if you're new. Please smash the like button if you haven't done so, and have a chat. Abraham, I respect him because after The Last Airbender, he financed his own movies. He even risked his house to produce Split, and he made it. Yeah, these are the type of filmmakers, Abraham, I've got a lot of time for. They're not a hype engine. They're not part of a studio machine. The stuff they make, they're very passionate about. And I think, to put your own money in a project is brilliant. Like the advice in Hollywood, in the industry, is don't put your own money in a film. But I think if you're that passionate about it, you believe in it, why not? And for these filmmakers, it's not necessarily about making profits and, getting $1 billion. It's about the art. It's about they put the money in so they can make the thing. That's the point. So I think everyone today, general audiences, are just obsessed with box office, but they forget about the art form and they're not a fan of the art form. And I think this is where many young cool kid fans don't really understand. They're not into the art. They're just into seeing a few explosions. So they think that a movie is only relevant if it makes $1 billion, and that's a shame. Waz 007, I wish bring back short round Indiana Jones last. I think we will see short round in the final movie. I think he'll definitely be involved. I think they're keeping it a secret. I think they're keeping many films a secret. I mean, many things are secret about that film. I'm more excited about it than I was. Waz 007, do you see Magnum PI reboot? I never touched it. I just think Tom Selleck is perfect. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people like Magnum, the reboot. It's not for me. I've never tried to watch it. I've never even been tempted. Bat Super, modern movie watching mentality can be so annoying. Yes, Bat Super, because all they talk about is box office and color palettes and, cinematography. But they think when they talk about cinematography and color palettes that they understand what it takes to make a good film. But they don't. All they care about is box office and the color of a movie and whether it's a dark movie or, these are pie-eating mentality fans, I'm afraid. But when I see it, when I see them disrespect the film because of box office, like AKA M. Night Shyamalan, who's a master, a master director as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's single mind. It's not. What's the term I'm thinking of? I'm thinking it's old thinking. It's bad thinking. If the only thing of relevance you think a movie has is box office, you really don't understand, and you're not watching films, I don't feel, for the right reason. Waz 007, I wish Knight Rider and Magnum PI crossover. Probably a bit late for that now. I'm not a fan of things coming back when these guys are really old and they can barely talk. It's just, for me, it just makes me feel sad. I just enjoy the glory days. I'll watch old Knight Rider. I'll watch old Magnum. I watch old Incredible Hulk, the TV series with the phenomenal, fantastic Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. But I don't want to see, Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk again. It's too old. I think he could still get away with it. He's still in good shape, probably. But yeah, I think I like to leave things in the past and relive them and enjoy them, rewatch them. But I don't need things to come back when people are too old. Because I think it may seem like fun at the time, but it's not. I think something that we may see with Michael Keaton coming back as Batman as well. But Super Blade Runner is a good example of how box office doesn't mean everything. For example, the first Blade Runner, it became a cult movie, didn't it? And the Blade Runner sequel they did a few years ago didn't make a lot of money. And of course, the box office analysts and the pundits made a lot of the box office. But ultimately, if you watch that film as a work of art, it's absolutely fantastic. But all you hear is about box office, box office, box office. We hear about Avatar, Way of the Water, its box office. But I don't hear much about what kind of movie it is, what people's favourite bit of the movie is. That kind of tells you a bit. Reno Jack, hello Mick. Hello Reno Jack, I hope you're doing okay. Waz 007, Tom Selleck was supposed to play Indiana Jones, but date problem. Yes, he couldn't play Indiana Jones because he was playing Magnum. And there was a schedule issue there, I'm afraid. I think he would have been just as good out of an Indiana Jones as Harrison was, but it wasn't to be. And I think if he did do that, he would have been a movie star. And maybe Harrison Ford wouldn't have been a movie star as big. Because I think Indiana Jones did more for Harrison than Star Wars did, if I'm being honest. Abraham Herrera, where are you from? Waz is from London. Well, Waz is from England, should I say? I don't know where. Waz 007, I mean, which Knight Rider and Magnum PI back in the 80s? Yeah, that would have been cool. They didn't really cross, back then, people didn't even think about crossovers. I mean, for example, we did have a great crossover in Happy Days because that's when we first saw Mork, Robin Williams in Mork and Mindy, which was pretty cool. Waz 007 from England. But I will say Knight Rider, I was obsessed with Knight Rider. I liked the 18, but I was obsessed with Knight Rider. I loved the Gee Whiz quality of it. It was just fun. My favourite ever episode of Knight Rider is the one when he jumps away from a grenade and he loses his memory. I think that's an amazing episode. That's probably the most deepest episode of Knight Rider you ever get, apart from White Bird, which is a good one as well. Because back then, these shows weren't deep. They didn't continue like the Junior shows do today. That's why I got into the soaps as a kid, because I wanted to watch stuff that continued from week to week. And shows like Knight Rider didn't. But I think the one where he loses his memory, that's just a fabulous one. That really is a deep one. And that's probably David Hasselhoff's greatest performance. Because I don't think David was the best of actors. I think he did a good job. But I think, because there was a difference between TV actors back then and movie actors. These days, movie actors and TV actors, same levels. Absolutely. And that is an improvement in the industry today. For example, David Hasselhoff couldn't lead a film. Last episode, my favourite Knight Rider episode is Michael Knight versus Garth Knight. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant one as well. Kit versus Car was very cool as well. Knight Rider was just great. It was a kid's wet dream, basically. We all loved it. We all loved it. There wasn't anyone who didn't watch Knight Rider. There were some really good shows growing up. I mean, it was a great time. I mean, in the UK, we had 3 or 4 channels for a time. There wasn't any digital channels at first. There was no Sky. But we sat there every night, and there was always something to watch. And if there was nothing to watch, we put a video on. That's how it worked. And there was no phones. There was no internet. We used to ring each other up on a landline, and that's how we used to communicate. I kind of miss those days. I do miss those days a lot. Abraham Herrera, I hope Grant Gustin gets work in movies then. I really hope so. I mean, I saw him on something on Netflix with a dog. It's really difficult. It's very difficult for an actor. He's committed nearly a decade of his life to The Flash. And, he's going to be typecast, isn't he? So, I would love to see him being involved in the DCU as a multiversal version of The Flash. I think he's worked extremely hard. He's carried that show, as it's not been as good creatively for probably the past 7 years. He's carried it on his shoulders. He's been amazing. And I think the fans can't complain about Grant Gustin. They can complain about the quality of the writing and what it's been in the past few years. But Grant Gustin has been absolutely fantastic and deserves every success. Back in the days, only 4-channel and VHS, no net. Yeah, I'd go back to those days. But I'd want a mind wipe. I wouldn't want to know that 4K existed or HD or DVD. Then I'd go back. I don't want to know what a better picture looks like. it wouldn't work for me. But if I could go back and have my mind wiped, I would. Because I think they were really good times. They were really good times. I think the films were better. I don't think the TV shows were necessarily better, but there was a lot of entertainment available considering the limited way we could watch entertainment. And I think the way we used to talk about entertainment was a lot better. And the mentality towards entertainment was a lot better. We didn't like something, we shrugged our shoulders. We didn't start creating hashtags and shit like that. We didn't like something, we didn't like it. That was it. And it's all changed now, I'm afraid. It's all changed. Very sad. What's happened today is very, very sad in many ways, not just in entertainment. It's once you open Pandora's box, you can't close it again. And what's happened with the internet, what's happened with superhero movies, what's happened with the MCU and how people think they're entitled to things, it's that entitlement, I think, that really gets on my nerves at times. Was 007. My family, we watched Knight Rider and the A-Team. Oh, yeah. I mean, me and my mum and dad and my brother used to watch all that shit together when we were kids. This was all family stuff. We didn't watch stuff alone back then. It was all family. Had the telly in the kitchen. The A-Team would come on Friday, 7:30. It was a big event. I couldn't fucking wait for that show. Or Knight Rider. The animated last first world issues. Yep, exactly. Couldn't say it better myself. And it's just become a society. I think it's a weak society. I think everyone doesn't want to be upset. Nobody wants any challenges. I think that if you say anything, even now I could be saying something that could get me cancelled. You just don't know. This is the world we live in today. You could be saying something against someone's worldview, and that's it. I mean, look what happened to Zachary Levi and what he said about Pfizer. Something like a lot of people agree with, but all of a sudden people are attacking him saying, oh my God, I feel sorry for the PR department at DC. Why? The guy had an opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. And, that's the problem. Just because someone has an opinion that's not your opinion, it doesn't mean you have the right to shut that person down. But people will block you if you post something they don't like. But they get upset if you block them. Do you understand? It's the hypocrisy. People are just fragile. Simple as that. People are fragile. I see it. So fragile. They'll, like some Snyderverse stands, they'll knock what's going on with DC right now. But if anyone says anything to them about what they support, they call that bullying and they act all precious. Well, you're the one shitting on Christopher Reeve's Superman. You're the one saying that WB will probably dig up Christopher Reeve. Disrespectful shit. Things about James Gunn, and people get triggered and people get upset. And then when James Gunn goes at them, they don't like it about their spelling or something. Well, there's only a certain amount of time someone's going to take your shit. Instead of just talking about what you love, you talk about what you hate, and you rub people up the wrong way. Waz Dublin, I like Terry Wogan's show back in the 80s. I used to like Terry Wogan. I think that's what you're talking about. Let's do it for our country. Our country wants us to. It's Uncle Sam who's asking. Where's that song from? Bet you don't know. What film is that song from? It's a sequel. It's a sequel. Let's do it for our country. Our country wants us to. It's from a musical sequel. It's Uncle Sam who's asking. Our country. And basically, the whole premise of this song in this musical is say he can get a girl into bed. Imagine. Oh my God, Twitter would break. They'd all get upset, the women. This is toxic masculinity. Look, he's singing to her so he can get her into bed. Oh dear, it's so funny. So funny what's happened to our world. But it's been, just closing off this live video, just to say, I think it's been an exciting week to be a DC fan. I think the slate is tremendous in terms of the titles. We don't know if they're going to be great pieces of content yet because we haven't seen them. But, you know, I'm excited for that slate, and I think it's a better shape than we've been in a long time. Waz Douglas, and I still got VHS tape Terry interview Imran Khan. Wow. Abraham Herrera, like Dave Chappelle said, Twitter is not a real place. It's not a real place, that's for sure. Obviously, it's a place on the internet but there are real people. It may not be a real place, Abraham, but it is real people posting the stuff. And I think it's okay to have your opinions. I think it's okay, to say, I don't like this, I don't like that. But I don't think just because someone says it, I think people need to be careful sometimes. There is a level, there is a line that shouldn't be crossed. But I think jokes and opinions to a certain level are okay. I think people like Dave Chappelle are probably propaganda merchants. You know, people like the other geezer from Big Brother, who's now in prison. These are snake oil salespeople. You know, people like the guy who was married to the Kardashian. These are all people trying to make money off of us from controversy, using our opinion, using our worldviews to monetize us. And we've got to be, so no, Twitter isn't a real place. Twitter isn't a real place, but it has real people on it. There's always remember that profile picture you see, that timeline you see is full of real people. And so it's not a real world, but it is real people. It's important to remember that. This YouTube, this live YouTube video isn't the real world, but I'm a real person and you're real people. We are dealing with each other and we are dealing with real people. And I think what's happened with the internet is we can literally say anything the fuck we want. And I think just because you can say anything, it doesn't mean you should. And there should be a line that people to themselves think, I shouldn't cross that line. But they do. And it all comes from disagreements. It all comes from, oh my God, that person says something I don't agree with. I've got to attack them. I've got to hate them. I've got to go to war with them. I think there was this guy who reviewed, do you remember the guy who reviewed Batman v Superman? Do you remember when everyone hated BVS and he was the one review that loved it? He's a director. He's directed some independent films, right? I forgot his name. Abraham, you may know who he is. And he did another video, I think, about Justice League, the Snyder Cut. And he talked about, it reminded him, or maybe it was Batman versus Superman. It reminded him of how we're all trying to destroy each other, just because we don't agree with each other. And I thought it was a really, really good point that he made. And that's the kind of society that we've become. We've become utterly political and utterly obsessed with making the world agree with us. And if the world doesn't agree with us, we have to destroy that world. And this is what happened to James Gunn before he got cancelled for the historical tweets. He was being very political, speaking against Trump and things like that. And, the alt-right dug and found something and pinned it on him and got him fired because he was saying stuff they didn't agree with. And this is what happened to James Gunn. And that's the only reason he got fired, because they found dirt on him. And I think, entertainers and creatives have got to be very well aware that one person's political opinion can be somebody else's dynamite. And I think this is why my father used to say, let's not talk about religion and politics at the dinner table when we have guests, because you're always going to upset someone. The animator who laughs, let's just hope that WB doesn't freak out if the movies don't make $1 billion. Yeah, obviously we don't know what kind of reception these movies are going to make. Clearly, they felt the Man of Steel box office simply wasn't good enough. And to be fair to them, I think Man of Steel probably cost near shy of 300 million, for example. So the money it brought back wasn't good enough. And I think BVS was a very expensive film to make as well. Bat Sibber, I know you mean, but I forgot his name. Very heartwarming video. Yeah, he's a really, really good guy. Abraham Herrera, that's what happened to Rome. The society became so degenerate. Yeah, this is what happens, Abraham. When you're given tools where you can say anything you want, and you can become a celebrity, and people give you attention. Um, this is the problem with the human ego, and that's what's become with the internet. We've seen it with the fandom menace and the way they've gone. And some of the stuff the fandom menace do is very good, exposing the industry when it needs to be exposed. But they are very political and they are very right wing, very, very right wing. And, it's all about that. When someone's exposing the industry really well, but then they start talking about Trump, it's very difficult to go down that tangent with them, because Donald Trump wouldn't help people during COVID. COVID in America was a fucking nightmare because of that man. He didn't help anyone. Oh, he got himself sorted out, didn't he? And to be fair, I mean, even though the UK had a conservative government, they were really pushing to find a vaccine at the time. So, I mean, even if you are a Trump supporter or a right winger, you've got to look at that guy and think to yourself, really? People say he was the best president ever. And, open your eyes. Whether you're right or left, open your eyes, right? The guy isn't a good guy, right? It's obvious he's not a good guy. It doesn't matter who you vote for. And Trump created a big problem in the world today, and where we are today. These arguments, the problems within the entertainment industry, Trump created these problems because politics became a different conversation because of Trump and what he represented. And we still see it today. Reno Jack, your father sounds like a smart man. Oh, my dad was a very smart man. He was a genius. He was a tactical genius. He knew he could predict shit. He was amazing. Yeah, and he was a survivor as well. But yeah, look, I think it's right that you don't talk about religion and politics too much. I mean, I'm talking about Trump, but ultimately, I think if you think about it and you look at a man like Trump, not the right or the left. I mean, I'm more left than right. But I think it's not about right being bad and left being good. I think when you see someone like Trump and how he divided the world, and he did divide the world, and this is what's happened with the industry now, the entertainment industry. Trump made them take an extreme left position, and they're still taking that position because Trump was a toxic male. They're judging us all as Donald Trump now, and this is where the conversations and the line has been skewed. And he was able to manipulate people to love him and manipulate people to hate him. Abraham Herrera, I saw a video where a guy was wearing $1 bills with a sign that said, take what you need, and rich people wearing suits started taking all the bills while the homeless only took a couple of bucks. Yeah, well, that says a lot, doesn't it, Abraham? That says a lot about the capitalist world we live in today. Whereas those are Boris Johnson and Trump look like brothers, do they? But this is what social media has done. This is what social media has done to our society. You can say whatever you want. You can hide behind somebody else's picture, a blank picture, and say whatever you want. And this is where society is. Everyone's hiding in their homes, typing away, getting angry. And ultimately, none of it matters. You're still going to get old. You're still going to flipping die. And it's all been a waste of your oxygen. The best thing in life is to do things and think of things that make you happy. And when there is a negative challenge for you to deal with, think about things that make you happy. Think of a solution to your problems. And if you can't find a solution on your own, ask for help, because there's always help out there. And there's nothing you can't solve if you think. But at the end of the day, the world has changed because of social media, and mentalities have changed because of social media, and everyone's just pushing their own propaganda. And, whether you're a movie fan, whether you're talking about politics, whether you're talking about whether people should be striking or not, it's everyone in their own little corner pushing their own shit. Waz7, Boris Johnson and Trump, look, brother, Waz7, life is too short. Life is very, very short. Life is very, very short. That's why I don't try and not talk about entertainment I don't like. I do sometimes, but mostly I talk about stuff that I like on these videos, and I talk about what's going to happen with DC, because that's what we're predominantly talking about here. And I think what's going on with DC right now is positive. I could spin it in a negative way and say, well, the Flash movie kind of reboot is the same thing they were going to do with Walter Amada. He's doing the same thing. You know, the Green Lantern show, we were getting that anyway. Henry Cavill was going to be replaced. All of these things are very similar to what was going to happen. And then you think to yourself, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is the titles, the slate that we see. He's using the same mechanics that were going to be used, but going in a slightly different direction. And we'll see if James and Peter can pull this off. There's only one way to judge this: when the stuff comes out, when the trailers come out. And right now, it's a honeymoon period with a lot of DC fans and James and Peter, because we simply don't know if what they're planning is going to work or not. And that's why you have to wait and see. That's why you have to taste the food before you judge it. That's the way life goes. Anyway, everyone, I'm getting a bit tired now, so I'm going to wrap up. We've nearly been here 2 hours, 1 hour, 45 minutes of me chattering on with you guys. It's been a lot of fun as usual. I will be back tomorrow with the DC Universe Daily. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow evening, Saturday night. I won't be out partying. I'll be here talking live with whoever comes in. Again, now Saturdays are predominantly not that popular on here when I go live, so we'll see who's here tomorrow night. But I really have enjoyed coming in. It's been great. Bat Super, yes. See you next video stream. Thank you, Bat Super. Thank you for coming in. Great. We're talking with you. Thank you, Bat Super. Thank you, Waz007. Thank you, Abraham Herrera. Thank you, the animator who laughs. I love your profile, animator who laughs. Pretty cool. And whoever else has come in, who I haven't mentioned tonight, I apologize because I'm just looking at the chat just to make sure I don't miss anyone out. But anyway, it's been great. Waz007, thank you. You're welcome. Bat Super. Have a good evening, everyone. Abraham Herrera, good night, Mick. Good night, Abraham. Thank you for the good chit chat. Really enjoyed it. It's been great. We talked DC, other forms of entertainment, the way the world is, social media, and how damaging it is. Everything. You name it, we've discussed it. We've put the world to right. We've put the film industry to right. Now we can go to bed after a nice cup of tea. A rich tea biscuit. No, a shortbread biscuit. I love shortbread biscuits. That's what I'm going to have. Yeah, and I do dunk it in my tea as well. Not that you needed to know that. So anyway, this has been Movies TV Mad. I admit your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wife, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.